The Utah floods occurred due to rapid flash flooding that occurred in the state of Utah in 2015. Several storms moved through the area, causing rapid flash flooding due to the ground not being able to absorb the excess rainfall. The storms began around September 10th, and the rains lasted until September 14th. Some quotes from NPR stated, "This is one of the worst weather-related disasters in the history of state of Utah." To further explain, Fox Weather also stated that flash flooding occurs when heavy rainfall, usually over a long period, moves over a dry land area. When water exceeds the ability of the ground to absorb it, flash flooding occurs. According to the National Weather Service's Salt Lake City office, heavy rainfall began in the early afternoon of September 14th, causing flash flooding in the Short Creek in Hilldale and then flooding Highway 59. A second strong thunderstorm again moved over Hilldale, causing more flooding.
Some areas experienced 5 inches of rain a day, which for Utah was extreme given that it has a particularly arid climate. This led to rapid runoff and flash floods. These floods impacted a large geographic area. These flash floods affected canyons, rivers, homes, roads, and so much more. Flooding isn't necessarily uncommon for Utah, but as climate changes increase, there is reason to believe that flooding will increase. Anthropogenic factors that are affecting the frequency or magnitude of flooding include urbanization, land use changes, and climate change contributions. Development can increase runoff, which gets rid of natural absorption and leads to more frequent and intense flooding in urban areas. Deforestation and agricultural practices can affect watershed usage and increase vulnerability to flooding. Climate change from greenhouse gases can cause extreme weather events.
There were huge societal impacts. Many families were forced out of their homes, having to seek shelter with friends or in temporary housing. Some reports indicated over 1,000 people sought emergency shelter. Tragically, some lives were lost and others were injured. Communities rallied together to support grieving families, creating a bond in the community, sharing their grief together. Children ended up missing weeks of school, and parents struggled to find reliable transportation to work. Simple tasks like grocery shopping became daunting as roads washed out and businesses closed. Local businesses had significant closures, with estimates of revenue losses in the millions. A beloved bakery that had been a part of the neighborhood for years had to shut its doors. Damage to roads and bridges meant longer commutes and delayed emergency responses. Repair costs were estimated to exceed $20 million. For farmers, these floods were especially devastating. Crops that had taken months to grow were washed away in minutes. Thousands of acres of crops were destroyed, leading to a huge financial loss for farmers. The loss impacted not just their livelihoods, but also the local food supply, leading to higher food prices, making it harder for families who were already struggling. Floodwaters often had sewage and pollutants, which created serious health risks. With stagnant water lingering, the risk of mosquito-borne illness rose. The economic total cost of all of the floods was staggering, including property damage and lost productivity, which estimated to be $30 million. Some communities in flood-prone areas of Utah installed levees and small dams to prepare for events of heavy rain. Sandbags were used as a temporary measure to protect homes and businesses. Utah implemented regulations for building in floodplains to prevent new developments in areas susceptible to flooding. They also added codes that required elevated foundations. There was no widespread abandonment of communities, however, some buildings were left beyond repair, leading to their abandonment. Now, more homeowners obtain flood insurance, along with the government implementing warning systems and emergency preparedness plans.